right? Bronze king, you see? Never white ever, because white Messiah is sorcery and witchcraft. Y'all need to know that. You must reject the white Messiah image at all times, at all times, at all times. It's very, very important. If you understand what I understand about the occultish, ritualistic elements involved with those esoteric things. Esoteric energy is the energy they tell you don't exist, but it's the only energy that's real, okay? So, anyway, so everything has an esoteric meaning. Like, for instance, y'all looking at me right now. You're looking at my physical form, but my frequency has an esoteric definition to it. You understand? So, you see me like this, but behind all of this, there's an esoteric programming happening in just looking at me and talking to me through the device. And that goes for everyone on this planet. That's how everyone is. We're interconnected through united field theory, as Einstein would call it. But it's like antennas for frequency and consciousness. But it's all about etheric and esoteric energy sources. So anyway, to get back to why we are so unique. We're uniquely supernatural as Black Americans, and particularly us. No other group is supernatural. Only Black Americans, okay, in this planet. Now, am I saying no other group should mean anything with this? I'm not saying that. I'm saying no other group is supernatural. And the powers that be, the elites know this, okay? And there's they have a lot of data points. That's why it's interesting that white girl, or excuse me, that recessive gene girl or young woman said that it's weird to her that all of these different agencies and these different people spend hundreds of years oppressing this small group of people. You got to remember, we only represented 13% of the population ever since biblical times. Even in biblical times, for the Bible is talking about us, Hebrew Israelite genetically. No, not no camps, not no groups, not no organizations. We're talking about genetics. This is bloodline, right? We were always, bloodline-wise, considered the enemy of the other bloodlines. Okay, and the others meaning those of dark principality. I ain't going to say no names, but the genetic Hebrew Israelites are the people of Christ. Christ was one of us. Like, literally, he was one of us. Like, before he was born, he was predicted to come from Mary, whose name was Miriam, okay, of Nazareth, and he was going to be one of us, right? So Hebrew Israelites physically existed before Christ was even born, right? This is how deep this goes, okay, genetically. So the eventuality of our race is FBA, Foundational Black American, Indigenous Black American, whatever you want to call it in that way now, is who we are now, okay, after the ethnogenesis and everything. But we still have that genetic predisposition of that supernatural trait. And the reason there's so much billions and trillions of dollars that goes into oppressing us is because they have to keep that supernatural part of us suppressed. Okay, and the only way you can keep that supernatural element of us suppressed is if you keep us in distress, keep us with low self-esteem, low confidence, no self-esteem, hating ourselves, having everyone else hate us, to trample upon the self-hatred and denigration of us, and to constantly keep us in a sense of confusion and chaos and a senile state, like almost a dementia-based state, which, if you look at that operative word in dementia, is demented. So a demented, senile, almost like an ethno-Alzheimer's type of state. Okay, and that's what they've done to us. That's why we're the only race historically whose identity has been taken, remixed. They took our names, they took our likeness, they made the colonial Christianity off of our heritage and wiped us out of it. Ironically, it's a miracle that God made sure certain things were left in it, like the fact of Revelations 1:14. And the only reason some of those things was left in it because Roman imperialists, aka white supremacists, the Council of Nicene and all of them felt that eventually, they felt that eventually we would be so wiped out mentally that we would never catch on to the faith. They felt like they could gaslight us infinitely, okay? They felt like they could gaslight us indefinitely, okay? So that's why they said, we can leave in here Revelations 1-14, that Christ had skin of furnace bronze, eyes of fire, hair of wool. So dark he looked like he had been burnt in the furnace. That's what the Bible tells you flat out. But they felt like we would be so stupid and so blind to who we are that they can gaslight us and tell us, no, that doesn't mean skin color. It means he was in a glorified state like the sun, beaming of light coming back from, the afterlife, and talking. And just like he has all these swords coming out of his mouth, it's all just spiritual, theism, right? So they feel like we're stupid. They're spitting in our face and call it rain, right? So and there's so much to this. I mean, this could be hours and hours long. I don't have time, unfortunately, to get real as deep as I want to go to y'all. Hopefully y'all get it. I can go deeper with it, but this is the main gist of why they hate us so much. It's also, of course, fear of genetic annihilation. The entire black race, even around the planet, even the Africans, in terms of melanoid darkness, skinness, not that we're the same people, we're not, but the dark races are the dominant race of people. Dominant in the sense genetically dominant. We're not dominant in the sense of socially dominant. The most socially dominant race by far is the Caucasian. The tribe of Idumea, which is the Edomite race, Esau. That's why I'm always fascinated when white people are religious. Or it's fascinating to me that they don't understand that biblically, they were honestly the enemy of God and Christ, right? They were Christ called them vipers of the wild, of the wilderness, and all of that. The real Christ, who looked like this, and was that was a black man who shared DNA similar to us. And I'm gonna make a video for y'all, Lord willing, about how to activate supernatural capacity, okay, through sinless living, okay, and that's what the real Black Messiah was all about. See, they created a fake Jesus Christ to combat the real Yahushua HaMashiach in spirit, okay. Y'all have to understand that they created a fake Jesus Christ, a fake white Jesus Christ, to combat the real Yahushua HaMashiach in spirit. It's spiritual warfare. It's etheric energy warfare. And what they've learned years ago is that you can create somebody before they're born. I know that's deep. You know this, Ronnie, too. I'm a genius. So I'm going to go deep sometime beyond everyone's mind, okay, in spirit. You know, sometime I'm going to take it there that deep so you can understand from another level, another landscape, another esoteric coast, if you will, from another parallel universe, another realm. Because we can do that, okay? Your skin, not just your skin, but the neuromelanin in your being is capable of that capacity, right, of other realms, okay? So what I'm telling you is this. You can, they know this, elites know this, regular people don't. Elites know this, and I know this. You can create a person before the person is even born. How do you think everybody was saying that Mary would give birth to the Messiah way before he was born? They were saying this hundreds, they literally were saying this is probably, I think, up to 600 years, if not more, before Christ, Yahushua was even born. And it takes many years for a collective group of people to do that. And the way that they do that is through energy harvesting, spiritual, they do basically a high spiritualism and like a conglomerate of collective belief, and it creates something called a tulpa. A tulpa is a metaphysical energy that comes from a collective belief system, almost like loosh. Loosh is collectivized energy of a crowd. If enough people believe in one single source and believe long enough, it will be birthed into this universe. It will be birthed into this earth. So that's one of the places that, well, one of the parts in which Christ himself came from. The Hebrew Israelite people needed a Messiah back. And when I say the Hebrew Israelite people, I mean genetically. I'm always talking bloodline, not groups, not organizations, no camps, none of that stuff. I'm talking about bloodline. Okay, those of you out here watching this, y'all, most of y'all, if not all of y'all, and my Patreon members are probably all bloodline Hebrew Israelites, whether you know it or not, because it's a bloodline thing. It is not a camp or group type of thing, right? That's why you never see me talk about no groups or camps or none of that type of shit. Over them dudes in the corners in purple and all that talking. Nothing against them. A lot of them probably are genetically Hebrew Israelites for sure. But it's not about that type of stuff. It's genetics, okay? Nobody can take away the authenticity of your genetics, your bloodlines, okay? So just like the historical people of Tartaria, that was a part of our lineage too, and Tamarukans, which is the word of American, Amarukans come from. Okay, you see the connection? We were called many things, the Nagus, the Nagas, Negrus, Nagas, Anunagas, all of these things connect, okay? But most profound and prolific was our Hebrew Israelite genealogy, okay? The tribe of Judah particularly that tribe. The tribe of Judah is the tribe that Yahushua came from. It's all about where he came from, okay? Because the people of his tribe are supernatural, period, okay? All through and through. This is why when you see Black American athletes and entertainers, it's almost like they're otherworldly with the things that they can do. Even the rappers, okay? Musicians, all of that is because it's a genetic otherworldliness to us that other people do not. They cannot tap into genetically. They don't have, it's not in them, okay? The tribe of Judah is supernatural. That's why they're the most oppressed historically. And it's hard to believe that categorically as a regular common man, common woman person. It's something you come to understand when you get spiritual downloads from the Most High God. And your pineal gland opens up clearly. You realize, oh my God, this group of people is supernatural. They don't want you to ever know that. I don't even supposed to tell y'all that. This is why I got kicked off of YouTube. Because I was telling y'all, not only are you supernatural, if you sin less. Do an experiment on yourself. Go as long as you can without sinning. You know, try not to curse. You know, just the traditional concept of sin. Don't try not to do it. Try not to curse. You know, the Bible is real. It's just not real for others the way it's real. It's not real for others the way they think it is. It's our people history. Okay, it's their religion. It's our history. It's two different things. So it's very, very real for us in blood, DNA, quantum, the scriptures of our actual lives. Okay. So, and many of us are reincarnations of the people of the Bible. It's that deep. For real. And by the way, Yahushua is back and Yahushua is black. Why you think I make the Black Messiah podcast? In honor of him. His spirit is back. I just want y'all to know that. Okay, I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it's you. I'm not saying it's nobody else. I'm just telling you Yahushua is back and Yahushua is black. So let me tell you this much in fact. Okay? If you go long enough without sinning, as a black American, just try not to curse. Try not to, and I'm not saying I'm sinless. I'm not sinless. I have bouts where I try less sinning, okay? And then others, and then many times slip up and sin, right? But just watch what happens supernaturally to you if you try to stop cursing Stop drinking, stop drugging. Not saying you're doing that, but whatever sins you do, you do some sin because you're human. You're sinning somewhere because all people do. But if you stop sinning as much as possible, stop drinking, stop drugging, stop porn, calm down some of your lust if possible. Even though lust is natural, try to calm it down a little bit. Also, take hatred out of your heart as much as possible. Okay? Meditate, pray more and more. You can never pray too much. And then here's the kicker on top of it right here. Intermittently fast. Try fasting sometime with minimal sin and watch what happens to you. You will have an aura, a removal of the blockage and calcification of your pineal gland. You will have supernatural capabilities as a Negro that no other race has. I'm not saying you'll be walking through walls and stuff like that, like how Christ was, Yahushua. Like I said, his name was not Jesus, by the way, but he was the Christ. That just means the anointed one, Hamashiach. Okay, so like Hamashiach, I'm not saying you can do all of what he was doing, like walking on top of water and stuff. You probably can't do all of that, but you will do some supernatural things. Like, for instance, many of you will be able to exercise demonic energy off of others. As y'all know, Ronnie too, I can do. You know that. I try not to brag about those type of things, but one of the reasons I was kicked off of YouTube, I would speak in Paleo Hebrew, and I would tell you guys how to reconnect to your ancient tongue of Paleo Hebrew and how to exercise demonic energy out of anyone, whether it's family, friends, strangers, through prayer. Okay, in the prayer in the flesh, right? The power of a cross, the power of a rosary bead in your hands is different than in someone else's hands. When you're supernatural with that Negroid DNA like that, with that neuromelanin flowing through you, that's that Holy Spirit DNA in you, that Yahushua bloodline in you. So we're hated for. Like, I love the fact. Pardon me, that young